What's up, everybody? It's John, and Cody here with NBC Today, and we are going to be breaking down all of the quarterback moves and how it affects the skill players on the teams that they went to. Stay tuned. A lot of good information coming your way.
All right, guys. Today we're going to be talking about some moves, QB moves, two new teams, and how it affects the team. So I'm going to throw out some names, see what these guys say about the team, how the team's going to do, how the other players are going to do, and how their sports cards are going to do. Okay. So first we're going to talk about Russell Wilson and the Broncos.
Yep, that was a really big move. I was excited when I saw this because my guy Jerry Jeudy is on the Broncos, and he was putting up with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater for 2 years, and that was just not a good combination. Now he has Russell Wilson going in there. He's a much more accurate passer, and I think it doesn't just help Jerry Jeudy, it helps the entire offense, really. I mean, he is a superstar quarterback. That's something that they haven't had there in Denver really since, I guess, Peyton Manning, but he wasn't even at the top of his game back then. So I would say Courtland Sutton. I think I've actually already heard news that he is the go-to guy for Russell Wilson. So his fantasy value skyrockets, his card value I think goes up, and even Javonte Williams on the running back side, I think it's going to help him by having an open passing game.
Yeah, think about it. I mean, from a running perspective, last year with Drew Lock and Teddy, defenses could key on the run with Melvin Gordon and Javonte Williams, and I mean, that's so tough.
They were still good.
So think about it this year with Dangerous is going to Denver. I love the move. And I echo what you said. I think it's going to do great for the whole team. Even the defense. You know, the defense isn't going to be on the field as much as they were last year because the offense is going to be able to sustain drives and hopefully score a lot more points.
Less time.
Yeah.
Good point. People don't think about that, time of possession and how much the team gets to rest.
Right.
3 and out. All right, you're back out there. Get a
helps
stop.
Helps the offensive line, helps the D-line, helps all those big guys. So.
Everybody. So the next transition from that, Drew Lock ended up going to Seattle. So how's that going to affect Seattle if you have him throwing to you instead of...
I mean, how do you feel? You have your DK cards. Do you feel confident with Drew Lock going that way?
Yeah. He's going to have a rough year. Russell could hit Lockett when he was open. Lockett always got a lot of yards and a lot of points and catches, and that opened it up for DK underneath. So I think those two guys are going to be
I'm going to be honest. DK and Tyler Lockett are on my do not draft list this year.
100%, yeah.
Unless they just fell to, some round that it just doesn't even make sense. I mean, they're still superstars. DK Metcalf is still a superstar, but how much of his natural skill can make up for having Drew Lock there at quarterback?
I mean, look at Courtland Sutton. And actually, Courtland Sutton was injured last year, I think. But look at Courtland, look at Jerry Jeudy, look at Tim Patrick with Drew Lock. I know DK and Tyler Lockett are way better. But, again, how much of that was QB play? So, I wouldn't draft Drew Lock. And I wouldn't draft Tyler Lockett this year.
Definitely not drafting Drew Lock.
I wouldn't draft Tyler Lockett, though.
Yep.
And I may draft DK late into the draft, but
it obviously, the point we're making is it hurts their value. I am not buying any of the Tyler Lockett or DK Metcalf sport card. We didn't ask it before. I am buying Jerry Jeudy because he's a young player.
We've already got Jerry Jeudy.
What's new, John?
You already have him.
I'm just saying, if I was to pick one of the Broncos to buy, I would invest in Jerry Jeudy because he was injured a little bit last year. He's back healthy this year. Russell Wilson, great route runner.
Good point. So Metcalf, would you sell his cards or just hold them for a couple years if you already have some of them?
If you already have them, you gotta hold. I mean, this is a great opportunity to buy DK cards. I think DK, unlike Tyler Lockett, is gonna have a long future in the NFL. I think this is a great opportunity as the year progresses. If Drew Lock doesn't do as well as we think he's gonna do, to buy DK, right? Don't buy Tyler because I don't think he's gonna be able to have such as good a year as he has in the past. And from the Broncos standpoint, I would probably buy Jerry Jeudy.
Yep.
But honestly, I may be buying Javonte Williams instead of a wide receiver.
I like Javonte Williams. Now,
I'm going back to Denver, but
it's all right. One point that I like that you made there is I would buy DK Metcalf at the middle of this season. At the low point, so kind of in that November-December time range when he has underperformed, because he's not going to underperform forever. Right. He's just going to underperform until they get a quarterback that can throw the ball there.
Yeah, until next year.
All right, so let's jump to the next team, and this is kind of a negative side of the sport, but let's talk about the Browns. Deshaun Watson, just 11 games, $5 million. I don't even know who gets that
Yeah,
money.
the Browns took a dookie on that one.
But he's going to be out for 11 weeks, and you got Brissett right now. There's rumors
Jacoby.
about Jimmy G maybe going there.
That'd be a great move if Jimmy G went to the Browns. It'd be a great move for the Browns.
I
Maybe
think-
not Jimmy G.
I think if the Browns want to stay in contention this year, and they've already paid tons of money to Deshaun Watson,
Right.
they have to go out and get Jimmy G at this point, because I don't think Jacoby Brissett is going to get them to the playoffs.
I don't know. Jacoby Brissett was good. I think Jacoby Brissett. Keep in mind, he was drafted.
G though?
Yeah,
I would
I
say
think
no.
so. I think he has the capability, unlike Jimmy G, to scramble outside the pocket, and that's what he's going to need in Cleveland. Think about that.
He's
That
more
line
similar-
is okay.
He's more similar to Deshaun Watson than a Jimmy G would
Correct.
be.
So
So
that's-
he kind of fits in that offense
better.
already. But Jacoby Brissett has not been a starting quarterback in this league like ever.
I get it, but he's had a ton of time to learn under some great QBs. Remember, he started with the Patriots, that QB coach, and Tom Brady. So he is no slouch.
I'm
no
not
slouch.
saying he's
Okay,
great, but
But
I'm
back
just saying.
back to the main topic. How does it affect the skill players that are there?
Who
So
was skill players?
they
You got
have
Amari Cooper.
who did
True.
Odell Beckham
He's a
go?
free agent.
He went
free
to
agent.
LA,
You're right.
and now nobody even signed him.
You're right.
He's
Well,
sitting
he's
at
hurt.
home.
So they have
Yeah.
Peoples-Jones there. They
Donald
have-
Peoples-Jones. They have Nick Chubb, Kareem Hunt
running
still,
backs
Amari
are gonna be
Cooper.
I
However,
think in general, it
it's
doesn't help.
they're gonna tank. Amari Cooper. Yeah,
You
it's
buying some of those
unfortunate.
cards?
It's
You got another
unfortunate.
Rainbow coming out?
No, no more veteran Ravens. But I wouldn't be buying anybody from Cleveland. This is a year where I don't touch anybody.
And honestly, I wouldn't draft any of their wide receivers either way. Even Amari Cooper, he hasn't had a good fantasy football
He gets
year
hurt.
in like 3 years.
He was
gets
hurt
banged up.
a lot last year.
All right, so the next one, since we're talking about possibly Jimmy G going there, that would be good for San Francisco because Trey Lance would know, okay, this is my team,
I think he
and
already
I'm
knows
all
that.
in. So what do you guys think about Trey Lance in San Francisco since we just talked about Jimmy G?
I know he's not a transition, right? He's been on San Francisco as of last year, but I love Trey Lance this year. I mean, if you look at the PSA video, I've been investing in Trey Lance. I think he's going to do great. It's an entirely different offensive scheme with him underneath center as opposed to Jimmy G. So it'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, so I think Trey Lance already knows it's his team. San Francisco's
sure,
made
yeah.
it pretty obvious that it is Trey Lance's
Spent
team.
a lot of money on him, so you got to let him play.
I don't think it helps Deebo Samuel's value. In my opinion, this is kind of why. So Trey Lance is a mobile quarterback.
Scramble.
They've kind of used Deebo in ways that teams don't typically use wide receivers. So he's been doing a lot of runs. They might still keep him a little bit involved in the run, but I think Trey Lance takes a lot of those routes, and I think that Trey Lance also might be getting goal line rushes as well. I think Deebo's touchdown rate goes down a ton. He had like 19 touchdowns last
It's
year.
going to be really hard for him to maintain.
There's no way he sustains that level of play that he had last year. The other thing, I'm a
More
little bit
reliable quarterback.
I'm a little bit concerned about Trey Lance's accuracy. I know Jimmy G was a very not like
Passer.
yeah, he was a good passer. And I don't know. There's just a lot of unknowns with Trey Lance right now.
He's looked really good during the mini camps. But I will say that Deebo is getting paid not just as a wide receiver, and that was one of the big things that he was having with the team with contract disputes was I'm not just your stereotypical wide receiver, so don't pay me like one.
Mm-hmm.
So I think they're going to continue to lean on him from the running back standpoint because I mean he was just dynamic.
Yep.
But I don't think he's gonna.
One last thing before we move on.
Touchdowns.
I just want to say I am really high on Brandon Ayuk this year. I know he had a down year last year, but I have been
good
reading
runner.
that he has some really good chemistry with Trey Lance, and I just think that chemistry is going to transition onto the field, and he's going to have potential to break out this year.
Well, who would you
I kind of
invest in?
disagree with you on the, I'll tell you.
Okay.
I disagree with you a little bit on the running because Trey Lance shouldn't be running much. I don't know if they're going to design a whole bunch of runs. A lot of his is when he's scrambling and he takes off. But Trey Lance is set. I mean, he had a whole year to sit back and learn the system. He's got Samuels, Ayuk, Kittles. He's got
Kittles.
great running back. I mean, they're just going to be.
They've got a good offense, and I'm not saying that he's not going to be good. I'm just saying he's unproven to this point.
Yeah, he's set to excel this year.
So who would you invest in out of any of those guys, right? So we know where everyone
Trey Lance.
is.
If
You would
he's
invest in
still-
Trey Lance?
If he's still low enough to where you can get him and get good deals because he hasn't played. I mean, you look at T-Law.
He's so hot
Look
right
at
now.
Wilson. Yeah, all those guys. Even Fields. A lot of people spend money on Fields, and he doesn't stand a chance in Chicago with that system. Hopefully this year he does a little bit
They haven't
better.
added
but
any weapons. That's a different
no,
discussion.
Yeah, he's
but
not on our list.
if I had to pick a player that isn't a quarterback skill player, I would go with Ayuk this year.
Yeah.
I wouldn't buy anybody. If I was forced to, though,
If I was forced to.
if I was forced to purchase any cards from San Francisco, I'd pay up and get Trey Lance, just like you said.
I think so.
I think everyone else is too high. I mean, Ayuk that's a long shot. I want to be a little bit more conservative with that
He
offense. I'm
starts
going to
off
go Trey
hot
Lance.
the first couple games, and they get on a roll and win. His cards are just going to shoot up.
Yep.
So since we were talking about the Browns, Baker Mayfield just went to the Panthers. What do you guys think about that? How's that going to help the Panthers? Is that good?
I hate it. I hate that move because Panthers are in our division.
Yeah, it's true.
I agree. I think Baker is a pretty big upgrade for the Panthers over Sam Darnold. And it's interesting, they have two quarterbacks from the same draft that were both drafted in the first round. And the Panthers didn't draft them, so they somehow ended up with those two picks. But I think that it is a good move for the Panthers. I think he's going to probably help DJ Moore.
Everyone.
I think all of the receivers there.
Christian McCaffrey.
McCaffrey too, because they
I
have
think
to
so
respect
too.
him a little.
I just think Baker is a more proven quarterback than Sam Darnold. Baker's actually had a winning season. Sam Darnold has, done nothing for the Jets, and even last year with the Panthers hasn't done anything. So I think it's a good move, and I think it helps those players.
Sam Darnold has confirmed that he has seen ghosts. Baker Mayfield has not seen ghosts, so that's a good start for Panthers fan. And with our video here, going to stay consistent. Is there a skill player from that team that I would invest in? In this situation, I would not invest in Baker, even though I think he's kind of low. I would actually invest in Christian McCaffrey right now. Why? Because I would purchase him now, sell him really early in the season, maybe after game 1 or game 2 before he gets re-injured this year, and just dump him. Because Christian McCaffrey cards are super low, and it only takes one amazing game, which he is completely capable of doing for his cards value to skyrocket.
I'm going to be honest. I have already traded for Christian McCaffrey.
He's on his team as one of
in
his
our
keepers.
dynasty league,
Yeah.
and I was able to trade basically Deebo Samuel for Christian McCaffrey. I think I got a steal on that
High risk,
deal.
high
It's
reward.
high risk, high reward, but there's
If he can
nobody.
play.
There's nobody who can match CMC in fantasy when he is firing on all cylinders.
Not even JT last year.
Not even because I think CMC gets involved with the passing game just so much more frequently. And I agree to your point that I would buy Christian McCaffrey for a short-term flip.
Yeah.
I don't think I would ever think about buying him for a long-term hold.
There's nobody on the team that I would rather invest in. I'm not doing Baker, even though he's undervalued. Maybe DJ Moore, but I've been burned so much on wide receivers, I'd rather not. Would you invest in anyone on that team?
No, my thoughts on Baker is he has a chip on his shoulder. That guy wants to win. He thinks he's great. He should be playing. He got let go from a team, went to another team. He wants to prove everybody wrong. So I think he's going to have a decent year. If it's up to him, he's going to play out of his mind. I think he's going to have a good year.
He had a lot of injuries last year. He has to stay healthy.
He has to learn not to run, not to get down and slide if you're going to run.
Yeah, I think health is the biggest thing for the Panthers right now. They can't keep anyone healthy.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is the offensive line in Carolina is not that much better than Cleveland, in my personal opinion.
He's used to it.
It's just scary.
All right, so next we're going to jump over to the Commanders, and we're going to talk about Carson Wentz. Is this good for the Panthers? Is it good for Carson Wentz?
You mean the Commanders?
Is it good for the Commanders?
Commanders.
That they got switched over?
I'm
I
used
think
to the
it's-
Redskins.
It could be good for any team that he went over there. But no, the Commanders.
Is it good? Yeah, I think it's great. I mean, they had Ryan Fitzpatrick and they had Tyler Heineke.
Yeah.
I think both of those guys were no slouches. Matthew Fitzpatrick, his magic is kind of lowering down, and I think he retired officially. Carson Wentz, man, I think he's the reason why the Colts didn't make the playoffs, and the Colts should have made the playoffs. They should have made the playoffs last year.
You agree
no
with
way.
that, but you're still saying it's good for the Commanders that he went.
I think it's just a lateral, honestly. If I said it was better, I'm going to revise that immediately. I'm going to say it's a lateral move. I think Taylor Heineke presents something to the team that Carson Wentz can't do, and that's scramble. So, I don't know.
I don't agree. So I think that this is a clear upgrade for the Commanders. Clear upgrade. This is by far the best quarterback that they've had in probably 5 years in Washington. And the reason I'm saying that, and you say that Carson Wentz was the reason that Indy didn't make the playoffs last year, but look at his
100%.
stat line. His stat line was still great. He
Not
had
at the
over
end of the year.
4,000. Yeah, okay, so the last game you can say maybe.
When he was making a playoff run, he has to perform for his
They
team,
still
and
put
he
up
did
points.
not.
Jacksonville just put up
No,
more
you
points.
know who put up points?
Jonathan Taylor.
That's
Yeah.
who put up points.
Anyways, he is by far the best quarterback that the Commanders have had. I think it's only going to help Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas, and I think Curtis Samuel's there as well. I like Scary Terry this year. I think he's going to have a great season. He's been putting up.
Scary Terry. It's always good.
He was kind of middle of the pack last year, but he's been dealing with these subpar quarterbacks compared to other teams.
I agree with both of you in a way that Carson Wentz is an upgrade for the Commanders, but that's like saying you're the smartest kid on the short bus. I mean, it's not something you can really brag about.
I mean, you can.
So who would you invest in? Who would you invest in?
Nobody. I
You
would not
invest in
buy a
nobody from
Redskin
Commanders?
or a Commanders team. I would get the defensive guy.
Chase Young?
Yeah, I would buy Chase Young.
Well, he's
That's
coming
what I
off
would
an
get.
injury too.
Well, I know.
We'll see.
So
no.
going from the Colts to the Commanders, what about Matt Ryan going to the Colts? Old guy, he's been around a long time, veteran.
Why don't you start us off? How do you feel about Matt Ryan?
I like this. I want to see how Matt Ryan does. I think
Okay.
Michael Pittman, somebody to buy and invest in. I think he's going to have a good year this year, and I'm looking forward to see. You know, Matt Ryan's been blamed for Atlanta his whole career. It's always his fault.
Yeah.
They were up huge on the Buccaneers, and the defense let them come back in the game. They lost. They were up, 3 touchdowns?
Wait, wasn't that the Patriots? Didn't they?
Well, when he was with the Patriots, Brady with the Patriots,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And those 28 points, right?
Yeah, it was huge. That wasn't his fault that they let the
Greatest
defense
comeback
come
of all
back.
time.
So I'm really looking forward to seeing. I'm rooting for him to do good, and I think that Pittman's going to have a good year.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think Pittman is one of my breakout candidates for this year in fantasy football. I think he's the clear number one in Indy. I don't think there's really anyone close to
T.Y.
him.
Hilton's still there?
T.Y. there. I think Zach Pascal is there as well. He could do a little better, but I think Pittman is by far the number one.
JT.
Yeah, Jonathan Taylor's obviously going to be a stud running back no matter who the quarterback is, but I think it mostly helps if it's going to impact anyone. It's going to help Pittman.
Yeah, I'll listen. Last year during Cardboard Cutbacks, I gave everyone a sleeper, and he's currently third string for the Green Bay Packers, Danny Etling. I'm going to tell you right now, Danny Etling, he had a 51-yard rushing touchdown in the preseason.
He's coming for you, Aaron Rodgers.
No, he's going for Jordan Love because Aaron Rodgers is going to.
You know what
Anyways,
he's doing? He's holding the football for the field goal kick.
no,
That's what he's doing.
Danny Etling, I'm here for you. But who's going to be impacted the most by this move is Sam Ehlinger. He's the backup quarterback for the Colts. Matt Ryan is dealing with an injury, and I have no faith in Matt Ryan. Sam Ehlinger is going to be the starting quarterback by the end of this year, and he's going to thrive.
That has what kind of
Value does that present?
Yeah.
It's going to be a consistent, mobile, young quarterback for Pittman to be relying on, and for them to create a script together that they are going to be able to sustain over the period.
So Cody is calling Matt Ryan last 3 weeks, gets injured. Ellinger comes in,
Sam Ehlinger.
and you think it's a good thing for Pittman?
I think it's a good
Oh,
thing.
Cody.
What about Ellinger's
He
card?
can pass the ball. He can pass the ball. That's all that matters.
Sports cards. Are you investing in him?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
He is my sleeper for this year. I didn't want to really come out with it until this opportunity. Sam Ehlinger is my buy right now,
Yep.
and I love him.
And I just want to remind you guys to make wise choices when you are buying sports cards.
Don't buy stuff just because one of us says so. Do your own research. All right, so going from the Colts to the Falcons, now we're going to talk about Marcus Mariota going from Tennessee as a backup to the starter for Atlanta. Who wants to start this one?
Listen, I'm a Florida State fan, okay? So Famous Jameis and Marcus Mariota came out of the same draft class.
Yeah.
Everyone says that the Bucs should have picked up Marcus Mariota, but honestly, he really hasn't done anything. He's been a second stringer ever since he left Tennessee.
What has Seamus done?
I'm not saying what has either one of them done is what I'm trying to say right now.
Back to the
But
short bus.
I don't think this is good for Atlanta. I think it's an opportunity for Kyle Pitts to regress from last year. I think,
Regress. He had 1 touchdown.
well, how many yards did he have? He had over 1,000.
Yeah.
So I don't think he's going to catch 1,000. I think Cordell Patterson's going to do a little bit worse. I think this is going to be a great year to buy Pitts in the long run. I don't have that much faith in Marcus Mariota personally.
Yeah, I mean, I agree that Mariota is definitely a downgrade to Matt Ryan in that offense, but there's just nobody to throw to.
No Calvin Ridley, no Gage.
So, I mean, who is your number 1 wide receiver? It's got to be Drake London. Who's your draft pick? He was a top 10 pick.
Rookie.
I think that he's going to have a good year, but saying Kyle Pitts is going to regress, I don't know if I agree with that. He was already pretty low last year in fantasy. Like I said, he only had 1 touchdown. The numbers say you're going to get more than 1 touchdown this year. He's just too big and too athletic to
just
not
not gonna-
score more than 1 touchdown.
He's not
And
gonna catch 1,000 yards.
but the thing is, who are they going to throw to? It's
many
going to be
games?
Drake London and
Pitts.
it's going to be Kyle Pitts.
And Cordell Patterson, how many
No,
games
he's 34.
is Marcus
He's gonna be
Mariota
faded
going to
out.
have over 300 yards?
I don't think he needs to.
That's
I mean,
not
you
his
can throw
MO.
100 yards to Kyle Pitts every game. You're going to have 1,700 yards.
He's going to be a manager of the game. Don't
Marcus
lose the game
Mariota.
for him. Yeah. Don't
Yeah.
throw 300 yards. Drive him down the field. Let's kick some field goals. Let's run the ball in.
Is what you're saying?
I think so. But
I think they're just going to lose every game,
It's
honestly.
great for the Bucks, though.
Yeah.
It's great for the
Yeah.
Bucks.
And like you guys said, he hasn't had a chance to shine. So maybe this is his chance. In college, he was really good. Played
We'll
for
see.
Hawaii. I don't know
The
about
thing
that
is,
division,
they got to
but
throw the ball. They're going to be behind a lot. I don't think they're going to be running a whole heck of a lot, playing
Run
from
last year.
behind. So they're going to be throwing. They got to throw.
So that's good for other defenses.
It's good. Well, it's good for their wide receivers and tight ends. So
Are you investing in anyone this year from the Atlanta Falcons, though?
Kyle Pitts would be the only one. Maybe Drake London. I think that he's going to have.
Early season or mid-season?
Mid-season.
Investment in Pitts.
I've already started investing in Pitts before this.
But
So
now his prices are above that. So
yeah, obviously you don't ever really want to buy during preseason hype. I think they're going to be bad this year, so it's going to be a good time to buy any of them mid-season. Yeah.
those cards will come down and you can get them at a deal. All right, last one on our list was a trade that happened this year, so we're going to ask Mitch. Mitch, how are you going to do with the Steelers?
I would love to say that Mitchell Trubisky, my brother, my clone, is going to do great for the Steelers organization. But I think they have too much invested in Pickett for him to be the starter for the whole year. I think Mitchell Trubisky has a lot of talent, and I think Chicago is trash. So I think this is an upgrade for Trubisky because that's a Super Bowl coach that they have in Pittsburgh. I think he's going to do well, honestly, but I think they have too much in Pickett to where he's going to stay the starter the whole year.
So you think he keeps his... You don't keep his starting job?
I think it's going to take one bad game with like 2 interceptions for Mitchell Trubisky to get the boot.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at this point, Kenny Pickett has looked so good in the preseason. I don't even know if Mitch Trubisky wins the starting job at the beginning of the year.
Wow, based
But
on
he currently
preseason.
has a starting job, right?
Currently, but I don't know if he keeps it. I think Kenny Pickett has impressed that much to where he could take it, even if it's not the beginning of the season. I think it could be 1-2 games after the season starts. But how that affects the players, I think anyone is going to be an improvement over Ben Roethlisberger in Pittsburgh.
They're saying his arm last year was shot. And
Like
could
he had a
not throw the
noodle.
ball
He
at
was
all.
thrown with a noodle. So I think that helps Deontay Johnson. I think it helps Chase Claypool. I think it helps Pat Freiermuth, however you say his last name.
Tight end.
I think it helps all those guys. And then
Helps
I think
Najee Harris,
Najee's still going to be a monster this year.
I don't think I know we're talking about quarterbacks. I don't think Najee's going to have as good of a year as he did last year because they can actually throw the ball, whether it's Pickett or Trubisky. But to your point, Deontay Johnson's a monster. Yeah. Chase Claypool, he's growing into it, and then Pat Freiermuth.
He's been I think he's also I say a lot of breakouts. He has breakout potential. I think he's going late. Freiermuth. So I think he's going maybe as the 10th or 11th tight end right now in fantasy. I think he has potential to maybe end up in the top 5.
Let's flip it on that note right there. Who would you draft from Pittsburgh and state the round that you would take him? I want to know one pick from Pittsburgh.
Najee Harris, first round.
Yes.
Najee Harris first round.
That's a no-brainer.
Easy.
though.
You guys can't pick the same guy. Go ahead.
Me? I would pick Deontay Johnson in the 3rd.
3rd round?
Yeah, I'd pick him in the 3rd. If he's there. I don't think he'll be there, but if he's there, I'll take him.
Okay, well then I'll take Pat in the 11th round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to be late.
A sleeper.
It's going to be late, yeah.
All right, guys, that's all we got for today. It's just a little bit of our roundtable talk. Was there anybody you would invest in Pittsburgh before we move on?
I don't think you can get Deontay cheap. I think you can get Pat Freiermuth cheap.
How many Mitch Trubisky cards do you own?
I have about 20 Mitchell Trubisky draft pick cards.
Yeah, I mean, I know
So
we
no
weren't
good ones.
really talking about quarterbacks, but Kenny Pickett, he was the only quarterback drafted in the first round of the 2022 draft. So, I mean,
Would you invest in him though? I know there's no good sets right now.
But
yeah, there's no
very
good sets. I mean, I think that if he is not starting, his value is going to be really low, and then I might throw a little bit of money his way and get
Like
a couple
Jordan
cards.
Love investment
Yeah, it would be
strategy.
kind of a Jordan Love. I mean, even Trey Lance, was he highly valued in the middle of last year? He wasn't playing at all.
Not really.
I think it's going to be.
That's why there's value there.
I think there's going to be value there, and I might pick up some Kenny Pickett.
Would you?
So for you, Trubisky, if he plays the whole season until the good cards come out for Pickett, then you can pick him up cheaper. You don't want Pickett to
That'd be good
start,
for you,
play
too.
really
Right,
good. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So I'm not investing in anybody on the Steelers team at all, except for Najee Harris is the only one that I would be investing in at all. So, all right, guys, we appreciate you. This is Cardboard Cutbacks, what we call it. We like to talk about fantasy football, how it relates to sports cards, their value going up.
Yep.
Just our opinion, but we love the sports, so this is what we get into, and we appreciate you guys. Thanks for watching.
Below in the comments, let us know if Sam Ehlinger is going to be the starter for the Colts and outshine Matt Ryan.
Just give us a dislike right now, like honestly. All
Or put LOL in the comments, and we'll know where to put that at.
right, see you guys.